Hey, welcome. You've tuned in to Short Takes once again. We're produced by the Alabama Take. Short Takes, we are a brief interview talk show with our favorite people, artists, musicians, you name it. I am your host, Blaine Duncan. I'm the editor-in-chief of the Alabama Take. You probably all know that or don't care enough right now. The idea here, I ask 4 questions after introducing one of our favorite artists or people. And the 4th question's always the same. We'll get into those in a little bit. But today, let's not wait any longer. It's none other than Huntsville musician and leader of the Wanda Band, Wanda Wesolowski. Did I get that name?
It's Wesolowski.
Oh.
You know, if you want to say the full name, just say Wanda from the band Wanda.
Yeah.
It's much easier and more ridiculous.
So give me that again. I'm horrible with pronouncing names, but I always want to do it right. So tell me it's one.
It's Wesolowski.
Wesolowski,
yeah.
Okay. What's the origins of that last name?
It's Polish, and it means son of a happy man. And of course, if you said Wesolowska, which would be how you would say, you know, I'm a female, so they have the feminine ending. It would be daughter of a happy man.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to say it means son of a bitch.
No, that's something entirely different that I do not know. I wish I could bestow that knowledge upon you right now.
Yeah, well, I'd be impressed. So how's it going, Wanda?
I'm good. I'm just enjoying this beautiful day. How are you today?
I'm good. Can't complain. Let's clue everyone in on what you have going. You are the front person for the Huntsville-based band. You guys are all Huntsville-based at this point?
Yes. So, yeah, I started a Wanda Band project, the Wanda Band, just Wanda. We kind of have a little bit of a different, people call us different things, but we're called Wanda, and we started about 2 years ago. And I've got a current lineup of Nick Riccio on the drums, and he's a great drummer. He's in the Rob Aldridge and the Proponents and Black Jacket Symphony. He tours with them, and the great Peacock from Nashville. So,
wow, yeah. I know a lot of those
great.
bands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just love Nick. And then bass player is Andrew Sharp, and he's like Huntsville legend at this point. He's in so many bands around here. Toy Shop, Don Osborne, Josh Allison. He plays with Disco Oasis and just everybody in between. And I'm really blessed to have these guys with me in the band. Just love them.
Yeah. So let's dig into some of the mystery. Where did your band name come from?
Well, I'll be honest. It started out kind of as a joke. We were trying to come up with a band name, and our friend Jason was playing with us at the time, and he was like, how about we go by Uncle Brother? And I was like, I don't know if I like that. And they were like, how about we just call it Wanda, just Wanda? And I was like, that's funny, ha ha ha. But then it just kind of stuck. And then I always like to say we're named after my grandmother, Grandma Wanda, who I am named after. So it's not after me, it's for Grandma, pursuing my dreams for the family here.
I think it's a good band name. I think it's great.
Thanks.
So you started playing music around age 14, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I started a little sooner than that. I started as a drummer at 10, and I took lessons from Marcus Pope, who's a great drummer, and he taught me a lot. He taught me how to record too, and then I started playing guitar around 12. Started really playing around 14 seriously and gigging at 14.
Really? First show at 14?
Yeah, I started gigging. I started playing at Bridge Street in Huntsville.
Yeah,
they would let you busk out there. So I used to busk every weekend. I would do like 4-hour gigs three nights a week at 14 and to 17 or 18 before I went off to college.
That's amazing.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And my friends would come out and see me, and my dad would take me to my gig and listen and give me feedback on the ride home.
Wow. So you've got some years under your belt just out gigging.
Yeah, it's been such a cool ride. I mean, Huntsville, I kind of caught a interesting sort of wave of Huntsville, I'd say. When I was starting out, I was able to, play at Bridge Street, and then of course, in 2012, they opened up what they call the Purple Cup District, the entertainment district downtown. Mm-hmm. And so they started allowing, I believe there's a city ordinance, you can just like plug in and play in Huntsville. You don't have to have a permit or anything. They want to like encourage that kind of organic art happening in the city, of course. So
I didn't know that about Huntsville.
yes, yeah. So it's really cool. You know, if I didn't have a gig at Bridge Street, I could ask my dad, or at the time when I could drive, I would just go downtown Huntsville and set up and play, use my little Fender Passport PA and collect some tips. I mean, gas was pretty expensive when I was in high school, so that was like the best way to make some money.
Yeah. Wow. That's really impressive. So did you meet a lot of people doing that?
I did. I made a lot of connections. I was able to get a lot of gigs organically. Like I said, like there were a lot of coffee shops, and I would go to those open mics, and that's how I met a lot of songwriters. Of course, when I was around 17, there was, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Foyer, but that was a coffee shop on Jordan Lane that was open near the UAH campus. And so it was open till 2 a.m, and it was just a coffee shop, and teenagers and college students and everyone in between would hang out, and you could only play original music because there was they didn't pay the ASCAP BMI fees or anything. They couldn't afford it, right? This is a very small operation that teenagers go to, so they didn't make any money. And it was very fun. You know, we every Wednesday we would play open mic, and we would all bring different songs and learn each other's songs and jam with each other. And oh man, it was just such a time. It was such a time in Huntsville music history that was so fleeting, and now it's just gone. And there's really not a lot of that kind of young arts community. Like I'm talking like 16, 17 songwriters. You know what I mean? I would like to see that kind of thrive again. There needs to be a place.
Would you bring new songs to try to impress the rest of the people, or to try, was that a part of it? Yeah.
Oh yeah. And of course, you know, there was a boy I was like in love with or whatever who was there every week. So I'd write songs and be like, I hope that he knows this is about him. And it was so ridiculous and disgusting.
We had a similar thing when I was in college in Tuscaloosa at the Mellow Mushroom. And I guess this was around 05, 06, 07. And it would be Songwriters Night. And in order to play any cover, you'd have to play, your first round had to be 2 originals.
Oh, that's interesting.
One or 2 originals. But what ended up happening is all of us were around the same age and playing this Songwriter Night. So we didn't openly admit it, but we would bring a new song in about once a week just to see if we could impress the rest of the crowd. And so many bands formed out of that circle.
Wow. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The same kind of a thing would happen at the Foyer. And that's such a special like connection to have with people. You know, it reminds me of like, forgive me, my music history isn't great, but you know, like a lot of the folk singers in California back in the 60s would have like that thriving open mic, or like they would bring all those songs. And that's how so many projects were formed that made music history. And it's just that real organic place where music lives. It's not on a screen, and it's not a feed, and it's not like content. It's like organic experiences and real connections with people. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. Your first release, I'm assuming it's your first full release 10-song album called One Hit, and then One Hit Wanda, which
yes,
right, yeah. If anyone has trouble seeing the pun there, I suppose, yeah. That's pretty brilliant, though. The album, I guess I got this from your website, the description, maybe a review I read. It's described as battling alcoholism and queer heartache.
Yeah, definitely. That's my story.
Yeah? You want to expand on any of that?
Sure. Well, I wrote the songs from One Hit are from a time period from when I was at school in Montevallo and when I was dropped out and moved back to Huntsville and kind of really developed a terrible alcohol problem. And obviously like was coming out of the closet or whatever you want to call it, or rather discovering like my own queer identity that I had never even considered, you know, before. Just because we live in Alabama, you don't even think about it. You think, oh, I'm supposed to be into boys, and you fall in love with these boys. But it's very hard to like deal with all that stuff, or at least it was for me, and I'm sure that a lot of other people who might identify with it could understand. But I feel like the album is written in a pretty vague way, at least. Maybe it's not so directly like, I wouldn't think that this is song about drinking too much or queer heartache or anything, but it's just kind of like each song is a story from that time. And we tried to pick the catchy ones, basically, you know, the ones that are fun. So the idea is there's 10 songs and they're all kind of a different genre almost. We arranged because all of them started out as acoustic. But of course I had this idea in my head, right? And so I found these players that just knew what I wanted. You know, they're just so experienced in what they do. They can just hear a song, and I just love that about my band. And we kind of decided, like, there's at least one song on here for someone. If you don't like 9 of them, you might like one of them. And that's the idea, like one hit. There's one hit for everybody.
I would bet that people would like a lot more than one.
I hope so.
Yeah. Jay Burgess from the Pollies had a hand in the album.
Yes, correct? He did. He had a huge hand. He's a great producer. I mean, he helped us a lot with some of those arrangements, and he heard things that we had never even considered in the overdubbing process. And of course, we recorded the album live because that's how Jay likes to do it. He doesn't like to use a click. Mm-hmm. He's like, let's get the band playing and then see what's missing. And I love that about how he records, because that's kind of what I like to hear, that like live organic energy in a recording. I kind of crave that like excitement almost of a moment. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When I'm as a listener. So
I had Jamie Barrier of the Pine Hill Haints on the show recently, and their recent release, you can just feel that energy, that live energy, like you're talking about. How did you and Jay Burgess cross paths initially?
How did we cross paths? I think that, so Nick had worked with Jay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because Nick was recording with the Proponents, and Jay produces, you know, their records. And so I think that Nick had come home from a session and was like, I think that we should use this guy. And so some of the guys in the band had reached out to him, and Jay hadn't even met me yet until like we recorded, basically. So it was like this very like fun thing where we kind of got to go in cold when we met each other, but we had just knew so many people, so many of the same people, you know, through people recording and such. So that was really cool, and he really understood the album and the idea for it.
I've done a few shows with Jay and the Pollies. All of those guys are great, but Jay's a good guy. You're right. He's got some intuition with music that I don't know a lot of people have. My favorite, I think, off the one hit is Lazy Susan, but Virginia is for Lovers is really cool. Thank you. Just for our viewers, that those might be 2 starting points, but you can find it streaming, I guess, everywhere streaming, and on YouTube there are some videos that correspond with the songs, and you have copies for sale, right?
Yes, we have CDs for sale.
So what's the plan going forward? Are you guys in the studio?
Yeah, we're going to go back to the studio, I think, sometime in the fall. We have a good amount of songs that we want to record, and I think that we're going to try and get the ball rolling on that. A lot of new songs are coming out right now too, so that's like just out of thin air, so that's really cool too. So that's what we're planning. So probably sometimes late August or early September, but you know, there's no telling when it will actually be out. So
I got you
for sure.
But do you still have the standing gig on Wednesday?
Yes, I have. I play Wanda Wednesdays, as they call it, at Voodoo Lounge from 9ish to 1ish in Huntsville, and I'll be doing that until the end of July.
Okay.
So,
and so our show releases in July. Catch Wanda, if nowhere else, catch her at Voodoo Lounge on Wednesdays.
Yeah, for sure. If you come the last 2 weeks of July, I'll be recording those. I'll be recording those 2 performances and releasing a Wanda Wednesday live CD in the future.
Oh, so that's really cool. Yeah.
If you want to be a part of that in the audience or something and heckle me.
Well, you come and get your applause in, and you could say that hand clap is me.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Well, let's get into our 4 questions, okay?
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. So you are active on social media, especially Instagram, where I see you the most, particularly giving regular updates in your stories. So, what's the weirdest reply or response you've gotten from posting something?
Oh wow. So there's like a lot of different kinds of replies that you get when you post a lot to Instagram, especially with your face and saying words and stuff. And one of probably the weirdest thing I've ever done is, I think I was like talking about how I was setting up a little home studio, and somebody had reached out to me and said, I have this old xylophone. If you want to come get it, I'll leave it on my front porch pickup. So I went and I got this xylophone from a very sweet woman. Just was like, have the xylophone for your home studio.
And she had followed you apparently, right? So she
was a fan of the music, I think, and wanted to like contribute. That's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. You going to put it on the new album? Have you found a spot for it?
We're going to have to.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Let's get into question 2. What's something that frightens you superficially, and then something that frightens you much more existentially?
Wow. Something superficial. I'm totally scared of like snakes. Like, I feel like that's a very like normal fear. And then something that really gets me on an existential level is, I heard like 50% of our memories aren't even real.
How can that be?
It's just like our mind fills in the gaps, or we're just under the veil of bias, and so we see things in a different light at different points in our lives, and looking back is always perspective too. And so it's kind of bizarre to think like, you know, over half of the stuff is a construct, or it's what we want to believe. You know what I mean? So
my mind's blown. You're challenging my truth now.
I'm just saying, like, so, you know, I'm one of 4 kids, and so we all have a different way of remembering everything.
Yeah.
And all of us believe it. So, like, who's to say any of us are wrong if it affected us in our
50%.
lives?
50%.
Close to it, if not more, apparently.
See, I would have bought 20 or 25, but 50's you're right. That's a little scary.
Right. It's terrifying, but also it's kind of liberating. It's like you can learn to let things go, because it's like, maybe I remembered it wrong. I don't know.
Oh, that's good.
I don't want to like be too, like, sometimes I feel myself being too anxious over like something I can't control. If I don't remember, I'll remember if I need to or whatever, but just, or if I remember it differently, or if it hurt a lot, you know, it's like, well, perspective is everything, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I've got to think about that. I'll have to think about that more.
Okay, great. Get back to me. Just shoot me an email.
I will. What's something, this is question 3. I tend to label them as we go. What's something that people may not realize about being in Alabama that you wish everyone knew?
I saw something that was like, I wish that people understood that the South isn't just full of like a bunch of right-wing Trump supporting people. Like, it's not everybody. There is like a side of us that's like being held hostage by these people, basically. Yeah. And
that's
it's almost
feels.
like that. Right. And so like when you're in like parts of Alabama that are very, I guess you could say blue, like I went to Montevallo and now I live in Huntsville, and those are 2 very interesting arty. Well, Montevallo is very arty. It's like a bubble, and it's like a queer community. And then you drive 10 minutes out, and it's like terrifying. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you look a certain way, you should not go to the gas station, kind of a thing. And it's like, sometimes parts of like, you know, you drive outside of Huntsville, and it's a little bit like that too. And it's like, it's kind of scary in a way to be, somebody who doesn't seem like they belong in the South. I'm just going to say, you know, like people, if you're like one of those people who's likely to get out, so to speak, I think that what people should know is that the only way for it to change is if we stay and we try to make change and vote and, you know, operate in our community in any sort of way, and like start on like literally a grassroots level of just like compassion or something. I don't know. I hate to sound like a hippie or whatever, but it's just, I want there to be like more people who want Alabama to be better, to stay and make it better, instead of just getting out and leaving all of the redneck Trump supporting alt-right people here. to operate it.
Yep. No, I agree with that. I've always tried to encourage as many like-minded people to stay.
Absolutely.
I'm going to piggyback on that question. What's something that maybe people may not realize about being queer in Alabama that you wish everyone would know? Is there?
Oh, that you have to outsource to date. I mean, you've got to go like 100 miles.
Wow.
A lot of my queer
stinks,
friends, right? No, a lot of us, like, we have similar experiences where it's like you put your little Tinder on 5 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles, you run out of, and then you get to 100 miles, and then suddenly you're like, oh, now I'm dating people who live in Nashville or Birmingham or Chattanooga or Atlanta, or there's nobody like especially in North Alabama. I mean, I'm not saying there isn't anybody, but a lot of the people here are coupled up in North Alabama and they're older, and there's not really like a younger queer dating scene. And people like be driving out to meet people for the first time and then being like, we had dinner, and then it was like, okay, I'm going to go now because I don't think this is going to work. That's just awkward. And then you drive home and you're crying.
And there's $50 on gas and dinner out the door, right?
Exactly. And that's what my song Virginia's for Lovers is about. It's about being ghosted by someone who I had a really nice time with from Virginia, who just like couldn't like come to terms with their own queerness. So they just like were like, oh, I'm back in Virginia, I can just never talk to her again, you know, kind of a thing. And it really hurt me, you know? And it was hard. I mean, it hurt me for like a couple weeks or like a couple days. I don't know. It was just a very minor thing when I was in my early 20s, but that feeling I feel like is so universal as a queer experience, especially in the South. You know, just being devastated by remnants of romance because there's so little. There's just like crumbs of affection and like open love for real. It's kind of tough. Yeah.
Well, you feel free to hurt. You hurt as much as you need.
Absolutely. It's important to.
Let's get into our fourth question. It's always the same. It's done up real good. That's our little saying, hashtag, catchphrase, whatever. It's, you know, the idea is that it's tickling your fancy. It's making you happy. You're really digging something. So what's done up real good for you these days?
Something that's done up real good for me is Viet Cuisine, the restaurant in Huntsville on Jordan Lane.
Tell me more.
Oh, it's my comfort food. They've got pho, they've got curry, they've got sandwiches, they've got, you know, Vietnamese coffee and boba and all the good things. And it's just an amazing experience. And my boy, he works in the front, and it's where I go to every time I need to eat something or just cry or something. I'll just get some pho, and it always hits a spot. And your fortune is always too accurate to your life. You get a good fortune every time at Viet Cuisine. Speaks to you.
Have a shout out to he's
shout
watching,
out.
right? Yeah.
I hope I'm going to tell him to.
Okay. Yeah, send him over.
I will.
I do. You did pique my interest. What is the difference between regular coffee, American coffee, and Vietnamese coffee?
I have no idea, but it's really strong. It tastes very strong and
Has it got more kick to it?
It's got a kick. It's got that like bitterness that you like in coffee, you know?
Yeah. Say no more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you create great music. I'm excited to hear what comes out of the studio later this year. You're a pivotal part of Alabama, and I'm of the opinion you make the state of Huntsville better. I really am. I enjoy your Instagram stories. I really like it when you get off with a rant.
I tend to do that.
Do you have one in your back pocket? Do you have a quick Tommy Battle rant in your back pocket?
Oh, brother. I believe in you, Tommy. I want good things for the city just like you do. I just want good things for everybody, and I want this city to want everybody to succeed, not just a small amount of people at the top. We want everybody in between to rise. We want the whole city to rise, and I hope that they think about that.
Well, that's America.
Indeed. And you know what? We got to start on a local level because that's what we can directly control. And if we start here, it seeps into the bigger picture, I think.
Yes. For our viewers, we want to make sure you check out the show notes at the bottom, because there you will find links to Wanda's Instagram. You can catch up on her stories, hear some of these rants. You'll also get some links to her music, where you can find it, her website. Yeah. Is there anything I did not cover as far as links?
No, you got it all. It's just visit wandaband.com /shows for any events. That's where I update the events often. So.
Go see Wanda live. She plays phenomenal guitar. From her videos, that seems to be the case. I really enjoy your finger style. It's fun to watch.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I have fun with it.
It looks like it, yeah. And knowing that you played since 12 and being a seasoned musician makes a lot of sense now. That certainly tracks.
Oh, thanks so much. It's
all right.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Wanda. And for everyone else, let's meet back here again next week. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you.
Thanks for having me.
Will went walking and was blown away. Found his finger by my mama's grave.